You've been tried to be wooed West Coast several times, and you're like, no, I'm staying here. Why?
We love it here. Well, as you said, it's a great sports town. It's also really a burgeoning town for technology entrepreneurship. It's amazing to watch over the last few years how many more companies are starting here and how many more companies are staying here.
What about the talent pool? Because, of course, you've got MIT and Harvard, but are you also internationally driven? Is there worried about immigration, that sort of thing?
You know, I think there's an incredible talent pool here. Anything that will keep that thriving and doing well is great for us, and anything that makes that less so, you know, obviously it wouldn't be, but I'm not worried about that in Boston. I mean, there's such, you mentioned MIT and Harvard and all the great schools here. And also just an incredible population of international people coming through, students and the like. That's a real big reason why I think Boston has become a new technology hub, and I think will be viewed as that on the East Coast in the very near future. And
despite poo-pooing some West Coast woos, you have, of course, kept the money rolling in. And interestingly, LA Dodgers part owner has recently helped fund the latest round of $100 million. Where does that money go?
So a lot of that is going to be spent improving and expanding our product both domestically and internationally. We're also going to increase our marketing. We kind of laid low a little bit last year, so we're not going to go up anywhere near like where we were at in 2015, but we think there's some room to grow the marketing budget. So those will be the two primary areas. And on the product side, we're really focused on improving the game offering socially and also for the more casual user by making the games a little bit easier to play and also making it easier to find and play with your friends.
Let's talk about the international expansion first of all, because of course it's just a month or so that we were in beta in Germany. Now it's going live. How is that going, and where else in the EU might you be able to jump off into, because you've got this license from Malta?
So Germany has been live along with Malta for a little over a month. And UK has been live for a little over a year, so really early to say, but we like what we see so far with Germany and Malta, and the UK is doing tremendously well. After a year, we're very, very pleased with the results. It's growing much faster than the US was at this point in time, and we've invested very little in there. We're still working on improving the product, adding payment methods, localizing it, so really I think we're in a position very soon to accelerate investment there, and I expect it to grow. As far as where we're going next, one nice thing about the Maltese license, it will allow us to expand into a lot of other countries in the EU. We're also looking at Australia as a point that we'd like to expand into, and we're just starting to look at Asia and Latin America, but too early to kind of say what we'll be doing there.
And of course, all of this continues, money coming in, investment continuing, expansion, while the ongoing discussions continue with FanDuel. You, of course, agreed to be combining your forces. You're going to be frenemies, not haters anymore. How is that going? Because there's a regulatory process, and it's with the FTC in the US.
So far, it's been going great. We've been having regular integration strategy meetings. We've also been getting the team introduced to each other and used to working together. And I've been incredibly surprised in a very positive way at how well the team is gelled. Sometimes you worry, you know, you look at how the two teams are going to come together. You have different cultures, and is that going to work? And what we found was that we were actually a lot more similar than different, much more so than we thought, which makes sense. We were both technology startups. We were both working in the sports space, very similar products, similar types of talent that we were hiring. So not surprising that we have similar cultures. Overall, though, I've been really happy with how it's been going, and I think we're going to be able to put an incredible consumer value proposition out there in the coming years.
Any updates as to what the executive team is going to look like, or what the name is going to be?
We will have some announcements soon. We are still working on all of that. Don't worry, we'll make sure we come to you.
And what, therefore, about, as you continue to evolve your products, you're working together, I'm sure the technology you can help develop, is it machine learning? Is it targeting me that much more? You say you want to make it simpler and easier and more enjoyable to share and use. What is the underlying technology driving all of that?
Well, it depends on what you're doing, but for the social part, I think what we want to create is a social graph very similar to what you see in traditional social media, and we can leverage partners like Facebook, like Twitter to do that. It allows us to much more quickly build that, but ultimately we want to understand who's interested in playing with each other, what types of sports they enjoy, who wants to maybe play basketball with this person, but football with that person, and hockey and baseball with this other, and just be able to make that whole experience easier, surface things for people, understand what they want to do and anticipate that and make it so that they can do it more easily. And then there's also a gameplay component too, making it so that the actual features themselves are more conducive to playing with your friends and casual users. For example, the ability to better communicate with each other, the ability to track how each other are doing in other games that you're playing that you might be interested in following, and other types of features like that.
Whet the competitive appetite. What about when you talk about partnerships with Facebook and Twitter? There has been the concern that, of course, you're banned in college sports. There's this concern perhaps about ages. How do you make sure that you're fit for purpose when you come to a social media behemoth such as Facebook and the like?
Well, I mean, they certainly have their own minimum ages too. So most of the people using them are adults, and they have the ability to tell who we're targeting to, who we're speaking to. So whether it's people that may not be of the right age or in geographies that we don't currently service, we can very easily target. One of the nice things about working with digital companies is that ability is there. And then when you take Facebook, for example, or Twitter, and you look at all the data they have on their users, it's quite an easy problem to address.
Your favorite social media channel that works for you?
I don't want to pick a favorite. I love them all.
But does one work better or not?
Facebook's great. I mean, there's such reach with Facebook that it's hard to beat. Twitter is also phenomenal. I personally use Twitter the most. It's a great communication tool for the company beyond just a place to acquire and engage customers. We've recently started focusing a bit more on Instagram, so that's interesting, and like to figure out a way to use Snapchat more.